Hi, and congratulations on your 2022 Nissan Rogue SV. This is an unbelievable vehicle, and with the new motor in this, the power that you get along with the amazing gas mileage is likely why you bought this. We're going to go back through all the features that you get with this just to help you get up to speed on it, make sure that you're comfortable with everything and get to use everything to its fullest extent. But at the end, if you still have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. All of my contact info will follow, so you can call, text, email, or stop into O'Regan's Nissan at 60 Baker Drive here in Dartmouth, Nova Scotia. Let's have a look at what you got with your vehicle. We're going to start right here at the infotainment system. You've got a beautiful 8-inch full-color touchscreen display. Lots of options on this. I've got my presets right here. If I go into my source menu, I've got AM, FM. Satellite radio comes free for the first 3 months. After that, if you want it, just give them a call. It's going to revert back to the preview station. There's a toll-free number right on the screen. Give them a call. They'll get you all set up. If you don't want it, don't do anything. It'll just stop after 3 months. USB 1 and 2 are my USB ports down below here. So 1 is a Type-C USB. That's the newer type, which charges faster and transfers data faster. USB 2 is your traditional Type A USB port that everybody's been using for a very long time. And then we've got Bluetooth up here as well. And what we don't see is Apple CarPlay and Android Auto because they haven't been connected yet. But once they are, they'll show up there as well. We're going to back out and we're going to go into the settings. If you're setting up a phone, you're going to want to go to settings on the bottom right corner and then connections up on the top left. And then you're going to hit add new in the center here. Now, one of the things that you want to make sure is that your Bluetooth is actually on. Now, this is new, as you can allow 2 phones simultaneously, which is pretty neat. That's a new feature for Nissan. Once you hit add new, a message will pop up on the screen. In your phone, go into the settings and then into Bluetooth settings. From there, you're going to go through and you're looking for My Rogue. Once you see it, tap on it. A message will pop up with a number. Confirm it's the same number that's on the screen here and press pair. If you have an Apple phone, you're then going to have to press allow once. If you have an Android phone, you'll need to press allow twice. Also, if you have an Android phone with a lock screen, from there you should back out to the main settings on your phone, go down to lock screen, and then you're going to go into smart lock. You're going to go into trusted devices and add a trusted device, and you're going to add My Rogue. That will make sure that your phone stays hooked up once it locks up. So we're going to go back here. Now we're very close to daylight savings time, so if I go into clock and set clock manually, I can see everything that I need is right there, very easy to set. Fastest way back out of any section in the menu, simply press the audio or menu button, depending on which screen you prefer to be on. Our camera button is just going to take us into the settings for this. Right now, this will give me a view out the front of the vehicle, as well as my 360-degree round view monitor. We'll get into this in a little more detail once we get to that portion. Down below, I have dual climate control. So, what I typically recommend is find a temperature that you're comfortable with. Set auto, and then you'll never have to worry about it. It will automatically adjust your fan speed and where your airflow is going to go. It's going to try and get you up or down to that temperature as fast as possible. And then the closer you get to that temperature, it's just going to do what it needs to maintain it. So it'll adjust all of these all automatically if you're set for auto. If you have a passenger in the vehicle and they like a different temperature, all they got to do is turn the dial either way. Once they get out and you're back on your own, press the sync button and everything goes back to the driver's side setting. Heated seats are on the outside of the dials here. There is high, medium, and low. Also, there is a heated steering wheel right here as well. Now for any of this, if you want to manually adjust it, you can adjust your temperature very easily. You can adjust the fan speed right here. You can adjust where your airflow is going to go right here. Or if you want it on the windshield, there is a button to do this quickly. Your rear defrost is right here, and that's also going to activate your heated side mirrors. Now as we move down here, we're going to see our gear shift. Now the gear shift is the same as the 2021 model, which again was new for Nissan in 2021. Very easy to operate. Now because I'm in park, if I want reverse, I'm actually going to push it up towards the R while squeezing in the thumb button, like so. For drive, I'm going to pull down towards the drive. Now there is 2 clicks as I do this. For park, I'm simply going to push the P. For neutral, If I'm in park, I can go up or down one click and hold, and it goes into neutral. But if I'm already in reverse, I need to come down one click and hold. If I'm in drive, I need to go up one click and hold. Also with your drive, we see an M beside that. So I'm going to come down to drive, and I see up here it says drive. But if I do this a second time, I now see up top here, there is a 1, and that's because I do have paddle shifters here on the steering wheel to be able to manually shift the vehicle. Here in Canada, especially on the East Coast, this is great if you're coming down a hill and the roads are getting a bit slippery. You can just shift down to manual shifting and then downshift to prevent you from picking up too much speed. Once you get back down to the bottom of the hill, pull back down to drive, and we can see right here it went back to our drive mode again. Below this is our parking brake. Now for my electronic parking, all I need to do is lift up on this, and I can see right up top there it shows that, and it's lit up here. To disengage this, my foot is off the brake, and I'm going to push down, and it tells me I need to press the brake and then push down, and that will release the parking brake on it. I'm going to put us back in park here. Auto hold is a great little feature. Now when this is turned on, as it is right now, when you're buckled up and in drive, we'll see up here a white A with a circle around it. So I'm just going to buckle up quickly here so that I can show you what this does. And I'm going to put us in drive, and because I've got my foot on the brake, it's going to be green almost immediately. Now, this is a prime example. It's held on, my foot is off the brake, I'm not moving. And that's because my parking brake, or my brake, is held on because it's green. As soon as I touch the gas, that turns white and I start to move. So I'm going to start backing up again. And again, I'm going to press and hold the brake for 2 full seconds. Turns green again. I'm still in reverse, no feet on the pedals, I'm not moving, my brake is held on. Now because my auto hold is green, when I shift to park, what we'll notice is it automatically engages the parking brake. The other thing down here is our drive mode selector. By default, when you turn it on, it's going to be on our top mode, which is auto. That's your normal mode. If I turn it 1 to the right, and it does show me up on the screen here, that's going to put me in eco mode. Eco mode is going to get me better gas mileage. Just be aware that compared to your other modes, it's going to feel a little sluggish pulling away from a dead stop or trying to get out and around somebody in a hurry. But if you are looking to get out and around somebody in a hurry and losing your passing lane, you can shift down to sport mode. You're going to have a little more torque on the motor, which already has a tremendous amount of torque at 225 pound-feet of torque. But this will make sure that you can get out and around wherever you need to. Just don't forget to take it back out of sport, as it is a little harder on gas. Our next one down is snow mode. Snow mode is a wintertime feature. Now, with the all-wheel drive system, pulling away from a dead stop, you're going to be in all-wheel drive. As soon as you get going, it's going to drop down to front-wheel drive. With snow mode, it will engage all-wheel drive sooner. So if you're driving along and you're in any of the other modes and you hit a traction condition, it's automatically going to engage all-wheel drive. As soon as you're past that situation, you drop back down to front wheel. Snow mode will engage it sooner. It's also going to hold it in a lot longer so that you're going to be well past that situation before it finally puts you back to front wheel drive. Our last one down here, off-road mode. If you're heading down an old dirt road that's maybe full of mud or a lot of loose gravel, just shift into off-road mode. It's going to kick in the all-wheel drive system almost immediately, and you're almost exclusively going to be in all-wheel drive going through that. Once you get past that situation, don't forget to take it back out. So you're just going to move back to one of your other desired modes at that point. We've also got a butterfly style console here. Makes it really easy to open up, and if somebody's arm is resting on one side and you hit the button, only the other side opens up, making it very easy for somebody to get access to. Up above, we do have some controls up here. So we've got our dome lights here. We've got a button to stop the lights from coming off if the doors are open. Maybe you're doing some cleaning. You don't want to be hurt on the battery. This will turn your lights all on. Your SOS button here is exactly what it sounds like. It will get you to emergency services. Now right here, I've got two buttons, and this one is for my panoramic moonroof. And it opens halfway, and then when I do it the rest of the way, it goes the rest of the way. Now there's still some tape on this because it is a brand new vehicle, so I'm not going to try and open it, but this button right here will vent or open your moonroof for you. As we move over to the steering wheel here, we're going to start on the right hand side. First thing I can see is these two here. This is my Bluetooth hands-free. This button will allow me to answer a call or hang up. This button will allow me to make an outbound call, or depending on my phone, if I press and hold for 2 seconds, I will either access Siri or Hey Google if my Android phone is up to date enough, and then you have full access to those systems as well. This blue button here is going to turn on my cruise control. Now once I do that, it is adaptive cruise control. So what's really neat about that is you can set your distance right here. Now the screen it's going to default to when you go to the adaptive cruise control is going to be this screen here. And it shows me right away 3 car lengths plus safe distance is what it's set for. If I press this button, it'll drop it down to 2 or 1 or back up to 3. Now as I see it do it down here, I can also see it do it up here. And that's because if I'm on a different screen and I want to adjust that, I can still see what the distance is. Makes it really easy to do. From there, I'm going to set my cruise. I can resume my cruise. I can cancel. If my cruise is already set, I can decrease the speed or I can increase the speed. Makes everything really nice and easy. Now also, you do have ProPilot Assist with this. And with that, I have a button down on the left here that will turn it off or on. I'm going to turn that back on. ProPilot is a system that will help steer the vehicle with you, but you have full control of the vehicle. And I do have a separate video on that, so feel free to go through, check that all out. It's very detailed in how the whole thing works. Really neat functionality, great for long drives or late night drives when you're not as alert as you should be. On the left side of the wheel, I've got volume here for my radio, making it very easy to adjust. These two buttons here are going to go through my presets on my radio. So it makes it nice and easy to skip through the different presets, which on some of the screens up here, I can actually see the presets as well. Now as well, from the home screen and the radio screen that we'll see in just a minute, if I press the OK dial, I can now change the source of my audio right from my steering wheel, which makes it really easy to control everything to do with your audio, all with the push of your thumb while you're driving. My left and right arrows here are going to go through my screens. So we're going to go over one screen to the right. Now, back on the home screen there, you have a digital speedometer as well as your radio info. The next screen over is our drive computer. Now there's 3 of these, and if I press the OK button, it'll go through each one. There are 2 that can be manually reset. And then there's this one which resets all on its own every time you fill up. Now, fuel economy is running ridiculously high on this because I've been idling for the better part of 19 minutes. I've gone 0.7 kilometers, so my fuel economy is quite high. If I go another screen over to the right, now we're going to come back to this one here in just a second. We're going to start at the top. This is my tire pressure monitoring system. Once I start to drive, these all appear. Now, because I did pull in here, everything is already registered. I can see the axles in the center show me where I should be set, and then all 4 tires individually for where they're actually at. Now, whether you're on this screen or any other screen, if you ever get a low tire, it will pop up and tell you low tire pressure. It'll tell you which of the 4 tires is low and what the exact pressure is. When you go somewhere that has an air pump, whether it's a service station, a corner store, whatever that has an air pump, pull up, leave your Rogue running. Grab the hose and go to the tire it says needs air and start putting air in. And when it gets to the right pressure, the horn will beep once to tell you to stop. If for some reason you kept putting air in or went to the wrong tire, there is an upper limit that when you do hit it, it'll beep 3 times in a row on the horn. Please stop putting air in your tire. However, at that point, we ask that you start letting some air back out. And when you get back down to the correct pressure, the horn will beep once to tell you to stop again. We're going to scroll down to the next one here. This screen will allow you to measure or to monitor when you're in front wheel versus all-wheel drive. So we talked earlier about how pulling away from a dead stop, you're in all-wheel, then it drops down to front wheel once you get going, and any traction conditions, it will automatically kick in, and then your different drive modes will determine when or how long it kicks in. This screen allows you to monitor all of that. Now our next screen down is a brand new screen, and because this is the SV, this has our brand new 1.5 liter 3-cylinder variable compression turbo. Now, as you can see, I've got a full tank of gas. I did go gas it, and I did have a chance to experience some of this. There's an eco compression and a power compression, and those are two different ratios that they use for that. When you're in that eco zone, which is the first half up to that dot, your PSI here tends to be below the 0. Once you get above here and start coming up towards here, that's where your power bar is going to jump all the way up, and you will notice a significant difference in the power. Keep in mind, the more power you use, the harder it is on your gas. But with that eco compression, because of the way it's set, you're going to see even better gas mileage than you would have even in the previous year, in the 2021. So it's a very neat system, and it does allow you to monitor all the time what's going on with that turbo system. Our next screen over is our radio info. Just like the very first screen, if I press the OK dial, I can go through and I can change the source of my audio. Then I get over to my adaptive cruise control, but I know that there's a little up and down arrow like there has been on a couple other screens, so I'm going to scroll down to the next screen, and this is where it gives me all the visuals to go with my safety features. The Nissan Rogue at every trim level is equipped with Safety Shield 360, and they do give you some visuals to go with it. So that means that you have automatic emergency braking with forward collision warning and pedestrian detection. Your forward collision warning is something you will experience, and it's run through the radar in behind the Nissan emblem in the front of your Rogue. Make sure you keep that clear in the winter. But if you're driving down the road and the car up ahead of you is turning onto a side street or into a parking lot, they'll be doing about 10 kilometers an hour around that turn. You're going to be doing about 50 kilometers an hour approaching them. And when that radar gets within range and sees that you're now closing that distance really quick, it will beep at you, and across the top of the screen here, it will flash a warning, either in yellow or red, depending on how close you are when the situation happens. As soon as that car finishes rounding the turn, that all turns off. You carry on as if it never happened. Now, if the automatic emergency braking had to kick in, so for example, that car stopped mid-turn, or the car in front of you piled on the brakes, it will beep at you inside the vehicle. It'll flash that warning on the screen, but the gas pedal is going to push back against your foot a little bit at that point. You're not going to feel it because your foot's lifting to go to the brake. But if you don't get to the brake fast enough, your Rogue will start to apply the brakes for you to help avoid or minimize an oncoming collision. The moment your foot is on the brake, that system turns off. You're in total control of the vehicle, and then it's up to you at that point. I have had the unfortunate experience of going through this twice over the last 4 years. It works remarkably well. Each time it was the difference in me avoiding a collision versus having a collision. So I'm very grateful that it was in place. Your pedestrian detection is going to work the exact same way, except it's going to happen even faster. The reason for that is the car in front of you that just hit the brakes still has some forward momentum, while the pedestrian who walked out in front of you does not. Your pedestrian detection is run through a camera in this housing up here behind your rear view mirror, and that's looking for the movement of a human. You also have lane departure warning run through that same camera, but that's more of a highway feature because it's going to work at 60 kilometers an hour or higher. And when you start to drift out of your lane, on top of the visuals where it will show you the lines flashing on whichever side you're drifting to, it's going to vibrate your steering wheel. This is called a haptic steering wheel. It's kind of like hitting the rumble strips on the side of the road. Your blind spot indicators are out here on the mirrors. There is little triangles there on each one. They will light up and stay lit up as long as part of a vehicle is in your blind spot, and they light up a dull orange. Now, if you have a vehicle, let's say for example in the driver's side blind spot, and that's lit up, while that's lit up, you signal to go left. That will start to flash, and it will beep at you inside the vehicle here. It's trying to let you know, have a look over your shoulder because there is something in your blind spot. If all of that happens and you still try to go left anyway, blind spot intervention is going to help pull you back over into your own lane. And it does so by very subtly tapping the brakes on the opposite side of the vehicle to help turn the vehicle back that direction. Rear cross traffic detection is for when you're backing out of a parking spot. If there's anything coming at you from either direction within approximately 2 car lengths inside the vehicle, it will beep at you to let you know that there is something coming. Also, whichever direction it's coming from, so whether it's coming from the driver's side or the passenger side, the blind spot indicator on that side of the vehicle will be flashing to say, hey, you have something coming at you from this side of the vehicle. You have rear sonar and rear emergency braking. So we're gonna have a look at the backup camera now. We're gonna go into reverse here. And what we see with the backup camera is we do have green, yellow, and red hash marks here for distance markers. Once whatever is behind you gets within the green hash marks, it will slowly start to beep at you inside the vehicle. It's telling you that there is something behind you and you're starting to get close. The closer you get to it, the faster the beeping will get. Once you get where that object is down near these red marks across the bottom, you're going to be into almost a steady tone. And if you're still backing up at that point, your rear emergency braking is going to kick in and fully stop your Rogue right in place. It'll hold you for about 2 seconds before it releases that brake. The other thing to keep in mind too is if you want to open your rear hatch, whatever is behind you, keep it above these red hash marks here. Now also on this backup camera, as I mentioned earlier, I've got this full view around me here. If I'm pulling in next to a curb and I hit the camera button, I can now see down the passenger side of the vehicle. I want to put this yellow line right on the curb, and that'll mean that I'm exactly 6 inches from the curb. Or if I just want a bigger view out the back, I can push it again and we're right there. Once more, it takes me back to where we started. Now, if I'm pulling into a parking spot and I'm in drive, so we're going to turn this off first. If I'm in drive, which I can see I am, and I'm pulling into a parking spot, if I push the camera button, I now have a view out the front of the vehicle. This will allow me to get in as close as I want, and then the same options are available here as well down the side of the vehicle and a full view out the front. Once more, we'll turn it back off. When you push the camera button to manually turn it on, that camera will stay on for 2 minutes or until you get over 10 kilometers an hour, or you turn the camera back off, whichever hits first. The last safety feature that you have is called High Beam Assist. Now, High Beam Assist is going to work with your auto headlights. And your headlights are LED. So I'm going to cover the sensors up here on the dash to force my headlights on, which I can now see on down here. The button on the end of my signal indicator has a little bullet with an A in it, and I'm going to push that. That means that my High Beam Assist is now turned on, which means my high beams are automatic and I don't need to do anything. They will automatically come on when there is nothing in front of me, but my camera up here is looking for headlights and taillights, and if it sees either, it will automatically turn the high beams back off. Now, even though this bullet is here, your high beams, when they come on, will still turn on that blue light like so. That way you always know what's going on. So we're going to remove that off the sensors. Now, the other thing to keep in mind with your wipers too is they are intelligent wipers. So when your wipers are on and they make 4 passes on the windshield, whether they're intermittent or regular, it will automatically turn the lights on regardless of how bright out it is, although the high beams will not come on. And if we scroll down again, we're back to our adaptive cruise. Our last screen over is our settings screen. Now, with this screen, we do encourage you, don't be afraid to play with these. If need be, there is a factory reset right at the bottom, but I'm going to show you a couple settings that you want to check. On rare occasion, if somebody has the desire to turn off the traction control, your VDC settings has that right here. We don't recommend it, given that you are in an all-wheel drive vehicle with many different drive modes. Driver assistance is our safety features. So I typically make sure that they're all on before a vehicle leaves the lot. Steering assist is our Pro Pilot Assist. Lane assist is our lane departure warning and intervention. And you can adjust how much your steering wheel will vibrate when that happens. Blind spot is for our warning and intervention. And again, you can turn either of those on. Emergency assist has your automatic emergency braking in the front and the rear emergency in the back. Now, this one is kind of important because if you do put a hitch on this, whether it's to tow a small trailer or for a bike rack, you do need to be able to turn this off before trying to back up to it. Otherwise, that rear emergency braking is going to continuously kick in as you try and get close. That, or if you've got a bike rack on, it's not going to let you back up. So you want to come down to that one and turn that off in that case. And I'll show you another way to quickly get there without having to come right into the menu in just a moment. Park assist is just for your sonar. And again, you can turn that off for the rear sonar if you've got a bike rack attached or you're trying to attach to a small trailer back there. Rear cross traffic alert is on. Driver alertness is a feature that if you're driving along and correct your steering a lot in a short period of time, you will have a picture of a coffee cup show up here, and underneath it, it's going to ask if it's time for a break. It's recognizing that you might not be as alert as you should be. Maybe it's time for a tea or coffee or just stretch your legs. So we're going to come back into that. I'm going to come down to vehicle settings. In here, I want to go into locking. Now, by default, Nissan vehicles will automatically unlock the doors when you turn them off. As you can see, I've already changed this one to shift to park. That means the moment I shift into park, it will unlock my doors for me. It is the preferred method for most people, but not everybody. My wipers, I want to make sure that they are speed dependent and reverse link is turned on. Reverse link means if my front wipers are on, but my back wiper is not, when I put it in reverse, it's still going to clear that back window for me. Speed dependent means that when my wipers are on intermittent and I'm driving around locally, as I move out to the highway, and I shift to a higher speed, the time delay on those intermittent wipers will actually shorten a little bit without touching anything. So we make sure all those are on. Rear door alert is more if you have a small child or an animal that tends to go in your back seat often. You can turn this on. That's triggered by opening the back door. Again, I have a whole video on this, so feel free to go check that out as well. Maintenance. Now, the maintenance on this is a little different than the 2021 Rogue because of that turbo motor. Your regular maintenance schedule is every 8,000 kilometers or every 6 months as laid out in section 10 of your owner's manual. However, your oil control system on the 21 Rogue is defaulted to 16,000 kilometers or once a year for your oil changes. Typically what we would say is once a year or when your vehicle tells you, because here where we are in Dartmouth, Nova Scotia, it's deemed extreme climate between the fluctuating temperatures and a lot of short drives in the extreme cold or extreme heat can be harder on your motor. What we've noticed on the turbo ones is it doesn't start at 16, it starts at 12. Now, my oil has already gone down 6 just idling here. So that will tell you that the system is trying to account for the fact that it is a little harder on the oil, and even though I'm not driving, it's trying to take into account that it is putting some strain on the oil system itself. So basically what we're going to recommend is every 6 months or when your vehicle tells you, whichever hits first. We're going to back out of there. You can customize the display, which I have done in the main menu section. As you can see, I have one block unhighlighted because that block is just a blank screen. So I'm going to come back out of there again. And the rest of it, I typically don't touch. Couple final things. There is an intelligent key system. So as long as you have this key fob on you, because it needs to be within about 3 feet of the doors, all of the doors as well as the hatch have a button that you can lock or unlock just that door or the entire vehicle with. Again, as long as the key fob is on you. Also, on the bottom of my key fob, there's a panic button, unlock, lock. You also have remote start right from the factory. And to work that, you're going to press lock, lock, and then you're going to press and hold that top button for 5 full seconds. From there, it will remote start your vehicle from up to 200 feet away. It's going to run for up to 10 minutes at that point, but if you don't do anything within 10 minutes, it will turn back off. Once you get out in the vehicle, to engage the vehicle, and it will tell you right up on the screen, put your foot on the brake and press the start button. The exact same thing that you do to start it. That will fully engage the vehicle, then you can go. If you don't do that, you'll get in, put your foot on the brake, grab the gear shift, and it will turn your Rogue back off on you. If you're running behind, you know you're not getting it within the 10 minutes, do the exact same thing. Lock, press and hold. It'll add an additional 10 minutes to the count from wherever you're at. So if it's been running for 8 minutes, you'll get a grand total of 18 minutes. If you decide that you're not going anywhere, just press and hold the top button for 2 seconds. It will turn back off. You can do 2 remote starts or 1 remote start and 1 extension without ever getting in. But after either of those scenarios, you do need to get in and get your vehicle up to 30 kilometers an hour to reset it so that you're able to use that again. Now, because it is a key fob, there is a battery inside of this. When that battery starts to get low, your very first indication is up on the screen here. You'll go to start and it'll tell you incorrect key ID. Don't worry about that. Let the message go away. Try it again. It should start no problem. The longer you go without replacing the key, the more frequently that message will pop up until eventually you're just not going to be able to start it. If your key fob battery is dead or near dead, on the back there is a little switch that if I pull it over, there is a key for the driver's side door. That still allows me in the vehicle. Once I get in, I want to put my foot on the brake and then using the Nissan emblem on my key fob, push the button in with your key fob. Your key fob could be completely dead and it will still start your Rogue for you. To change your battery, the batteries are only about $7.50. Just take the key out, get a small flat head in one of these 2 recessed areas here, give it a small twist and this will pop open. The battery inside will have your battery size on it. It's either going to be a CR2032 or a CR2025. Whatever battery size it says, use the same size battery. Just put the new battery in, clip it back into place, and then you're going to take the key, put that back into place, and you're good to go. There's no programming or anything that has to be done with it. Everything's ready to work right away. Please don't buy the dollar store batteries. I know they're easily accessible. They typically don't last as long as the good batteries do. Congratulations again on your 2022 Nissan Rogue SV. This is an amazing vehicle, ton of power, great gas mileage, especially with today's soaring gas prices, and it's going to be an amazing vehicle for you. I love the way that this thing drives, love the gas mileage that I get, but you already know all this stuff. That's why you bought one of these. I hope this answers any questions that you might have had, but if you still have questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. You can call, text, email, or stop into O'Regan's Nissan here at 60 Baker Drive in Dartmouth, Nova Scotia. We'll do everything that we can to help get you up to speed as fast as possible and keep it a great experience. Hope to see you when you're in for your regular maintenance or when it's time for your next vehicle.